Good afternoon, everybody. Lyle with No Hippie Trucking and Transportation here, trying to come at you with a more professional greeting. Those of you guys that plan on catching this while you're driving later on or something, let me wait for at least a few more people to come in. It is the middle of the day, so chances are there might not be that many people showing up. Whoever just threw up that like, I'm not one of those people that praise grubs, but I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Spending money like it's going out of style. Damn. Just waiting for a few more people to come in before I get on to kind of what happened to me this morning and just home time in general. Walmart driver Crespo, what's up? I might be in your situation, but I will definitely not be going as expensive as you. Google Play points on. All right, so it's easier for me to read the comments on this. All right, what's going on? Just saying hi before driving, won't be able to text. All right, I hear you, man. Quick question. Don't you think you should incentivize the load selection board for drivers? Load selection board. Make it where you can earn the ability to have it, proper implementation. To be honest with you, I think if they could get rid of that little whatever they call a load board right now, they would. The problem is they just ain't going to do it. So I chose not to do that just because I think it is more convenient. I don't think it's going to translate into any more money for me. And I'm one of those kind of guys, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, if I was having problems and I wasn't doing well, I always say, if something's not working, change anything. But back when I was I was going to go onto that load board. This had to be like 2020. And I decided not to do that. Let's see. Ken Amaro, truckers used to be respected. You know, I don't feel disrespected. I mean, because I'm a truck driver, but then again, you could also say that truck drivers didn't kiss their own ass every time they did something well either. Every time I'm on Facebook or listening to people, they're all talking about if it wasn't for truck drivers, this country would shut down. If it wasn't for truck drivers, you wouldn't have anything. Well, you know what? If it wasn't for the people making the shit and it wasn't for people working at the truck stops and it wasn't people, I think truck drivers get a little bit too proud of their self, to be honest with you. Land Rover dropped his hamster in a pot of honey. Do you have any advice? Well, at this point, depending on how hot the honey was, you might want to just eat that bad boy. Just joking. All right, so anyway, here's what happened. Now, I've been saying that my truck's been on my personal truck. It's been on its last leg for like forever. When I came, and a lot of it wasn't like, okay, a lot of it was just emissions related because one of the Now, this has been one of the best investments I've ever made, and I'm including stocks, houses, all that, especially if you're going to say it's a automobile. But um, the downfall to this truck was that when it was new, it came out of Missouri. Colorado cars do not get rust. So this truck's been kind of rusting, right? So it had rusted so much that the exhaust system, one of the exhaust pipes was kind of hanging down. So took it to my guy at the auto shop and just told him, just cut this shit off. So I've been running like back in the 70s, straight piping it. You know what I mean? So I knew I only had to the beginning of this October or next October to where I was going to have to get rid of it, because I wasn't going to pay to get the exhaust hung back up and all that. So anyway, the registration came in the mail. They said I didn't need to get emissions, so that meant I was good till next October. So I was cool with that. But anyway, when I got off the truck and I'm unloading stuff at the Denver yard and everything, I go to start it and it is not really wanting to start. And it's not like a charging thing. It's like, I can't even explain it. But anyway, it still drove all right once it got started. Well, this morning when I went out there to start it, it really took a long time to start. And then when I was driving it, even the power steering wasn't really working all that well. And then the heater, ever since I've been back, hasn't been working. So I was like telling my wife, you know what? Even if I decide to keep this December or November, whenever I come back next, and it's cold, I'm not gonna be able to defrost the windshield. So I've kind of had that in the back of my mind, like, okay, I'm about to go ahead and buy something else. So drove up to the bank this morning, started the truck, was making all this noise, got up to the bank, and it looked like every bit of fluid that could have been in that truck was on the ground under the hood. So anyway, I just decided, it's time to get another car. Now I don't have to get one. I just won't drive this truck too much more. So I'm going to be going to take a look at a car tomorrow morning at like 10:30. And if that is a decent car, then that's what we'll buy. I'd almost like to go older, but at some point, if I could find the right old car, I would get it, but it's kind of hit or miss. All right, so anyway, let's get to these comments real quick. Let me just throw up. This is the car I'm going to be kind of looking at tomorrow. Audi all-road. All right, let me get to these comments. All the pros are either dead or retired. And I don't know about that. I do say, I will admit, I could not be a truck driver back in the days, with Atlases and, not having any entertainment in the truck or, any of that. Just everything about it, I couldn't have done. So trucking would have had to been at least where it's at now for me to want to get into it. One thing I will say is all these truckers that are acting like everything was like, there were things that are harder. One thing that was not harder was this traffic. So, and some of those old school drivers are still driving, and I'm sure that at least my boy would tell you the same. All right, Harry Ness, what's up? I hate to spend some money on a car too. That's one thing I hate spending money on. And if I could listen, a car and status do not kind of go hand in hand with me. If I could find one, If I could find like an old Jeep Cherokee Sport for like $3,000, I'd buy that. I just can't find them. All right, I got my license through another school. Did you know how much that refresher course is for Prime? If you already have your CDL at Prime, it's not going to cost you anything. You're just going to have to go out with the trainer for a certain number of miles. So it wouldn't cost anything. Greedy Little Pig Show, what's going on? I'm chilling, man. Older, low mileage, not sure what we're talking about there. Slime Pack, I watched your last video. I'm not sure if you were, see, Slime Pack, you don't know if her videos were done yesterday or 4 weeks ago. So in her video, she was going home. So I don't know if she's still at home, left the house, what's going on there. Get a Toyota. You know what? I thought about that, and Toyotas are just too much money to justify it. I can't justify paying over $10,000 for something that has 200,000 miles on it or whatever it would be. But I have looked at some. I did see a 470, a Lexus 470 that price was pretty decent on it for the miles, but again, it was up like in that 16,000 range. I just wasn't trying to get on that. Slime Pack has been back OTR for 2 weeks. That video was recorded on 9/24. Yeah, boy, nobody's gonna sneak up on Slime Pack because of what she said in the video, because she'll be putting out videos when she's like deceased, potentially. All right, bro, do you look like every ethnicity combined? Like, can't tell, are you black, white, brown? I'm just regular black, you know what I mean? Obviously mixed with some other shit in there. As a matter of fact, funny story, one of my aunts back in the days, I must have been like 8 years old. It was probably the first time I'd met her. And she was, my mom was very like fair skinned, but this one, she looked like literally white. And I forgot how I brought it up, but I forgot how the topic came up. But in that conversation, I said something about her being white, and she acted like I broke the law. That's my mom, so she's, kind of like that. But anyway. So that's kind of what I am, just a regular, I miss that truck because I definitely got my money's worth out of that truck. That truck, I bought that truck in 2015. It was a 2009, just coming up on 200,000 miles. Now that I'm going through these pictures, boy, don't tell me I didn't know nothing about no competition ribs right there. You crazy? All right, so anyway, let me get to these comments real quick. All right. Lazy Lab Rat, you look like a nice guy. Well, I appreciate it. Lazy Lab Rat, your phone looks like mine. As a matter of fact, I need to get this phone. I was actually supposed to go get another phone today because I don't know if you can see it, but the screen's cracked on it pretty bad. I was delivering a load in Wisconsin, been over to pick up or been over to do something, and my phone fell out of my pocket. I didn't realize it. So I back into the dock, and I'm like looking for my phone, can't find it anywhere. So I look out and I see my phone like a truck linked in front of me. And as I see that phone in front of me, there's another truck that's driving out that runs like right over my phone. So Anyway, I need to get another phone. I was supposed to be doing that today, but I did not want to be driving around this truck. So, sup, F-Road. Did I ever consider hauling Amazon freight? No. I hadn't really thought about that. Slime Pack, you started on that brisket yet? Man, I was thinking about doing that this morning. Or not this morning. I was thinking about starting it sometime this evening. But I haven't pulled it out of the refrigerator, so that's not going to work yet. But I was going to pull it out, put it on the smoker for 6 hours, pull it off, throw it in the oven, finish it off in the oven, and go from there. But I've been too lazy to do that. Greedy Little Pig Show. Lucky that the screen still works. If worse comes to worse, this phone right here, I could use this one as well. But, this one's just some random Android. This one's a Galaxy, a Samsung. So it's a little bit better, smaller. It's a little bit more handheld. So I like this one. So I'll be spending some money on a phone here coming up. I do need to get on that brisket though, but yesterday I went out to eat with my daughter and grandson, and some of you guys might not know what the itis is, but we're sitting at the restaurant and he's out here eating and he got the itis in the middle of taking a bite. Man, I had an iPhone a while back. Had to be. I mean, it's been a long time. It's probably going back to 2013, and I just did not enjoy it as much as the Android. And I'm not saying it's worse or better. It just seemed too foreign to me. Yes, Slime Pack. I was thinking you might have divulged a little bit too much in the last video I saw when you were talking about that bungee cord and you ain't got no time to do this and that. I was like, yeah, I know what she's out there doing. But hey, I wish I'd saved the comments that I had going back and forth between me and Road Assist, because I dropped off a load in Bentonville, Arkansas. Prime does not do a lot of dropping hooks in Bentonville, Arkansas. So there was only one trailer for me to pick from, and the trailer chute was like barely hanging on. So I had another load I had to pick up real fast. So I'm trying to get attached to the trailer, do all this stuff, get down to the trailer repair place because they do washouts also and everything. So I just get it done, do all this stuff. And my Road Assist manager is like, do you have pictures of this? And I was like, no, I don't have pictures. Well, we need to have pictures. I was like, listen, this is the real world right here. I could either do shit and be all slow and maybe not make my appointment time, or I could, it's critical thinking. We just don't have that. You know what? This company has kind of got a little bit more procedure driven than critical thinking driven. And he's like, well, to get paid, you have to have before and after pictures and shit. I was like, man, this shit's like $56. I ain't going to worry about it. But you don't have to worry about me making that mistake again. And you wonder why people don't want to deal with these messed up trailers out here. Point taken. So, anyway, I brought that topic up because Slime Pack in her video, it mentioned using a bungee cord to do something because she didn't have a twist tie, or not a twist tie, whatever them things are called. She couldn't even remember what they're called. They're called zip ties. There you go. All right. Tago Whittington, you have to pay for everything on an iPhone. I have to pay for everything on this phone that I got because I'm with Cricket, and you ain't making no payments on no phones or anything like that. I mean, I guess you could. And people used to always laugh at me. Oh, you're with Cricket. You're a Cricket. Man, I've closed $1 million. This is back in the day, too. $1 million loans on a Cricket phone, all that stuff. I've had Cricket phones probably longer than some people on here have been alive. All right. My question about the refresher course at Prime can also be to you guys in the comments. I can't find video or info on it, and personally don't trust recruiters. As far as the refresher course at Prime, if you have your CDL, they may ask you to go out on the road with a trainer. It could be 30,000 miles, it could be 40,000 miles, just depending. And at that point, man, I'm not sure what the pay would be. So I don't know. I guess somebody else might have to get into that. I think if you have a CDL, you'd be hired, so you'd be making the minimum $900 a week. So yeah. The Greedy Little Pig Show. We need to change our motto to babysat by the best. Absolutely. They are like really micromanaging this shit, and I think it makes for a worse driver. Slime Pack says she was on her road or her load home and she wasn't going to do anything or any unnecessary stopping. Listen, the way I looked at it is sometimes it's like hot potato. Sometimes I get stuck with a hot potato like I did on that one and I got to handle it. Sometimes it's somebody else. But if there's really no compensation for any of this stuff, I just don't see the value in. I mean, I understand it's easy to be sitting in house making your money that you're going to be making regardless, or within a certain degree, I guess. It's easy to say what's right to be doing out here when you're insulated by the four walls of the Millennium Building, but when you're out here, it's a totally different story. So another reason why I think that fleet managers, safety people, even Logs, if Logs wants to step in and start talking, about some stuff, they can get on a truck too. I think it would benefit everybody. I think the only people I wouldn't throw into that would be like the mechanics. I was just talking to somebody yesterday. They kept sending him a load, and he kept saying why he wasn't accepting the load because because of his sleep schedule. Now, personally, that's not going to affect me too much generally. Usually it's not. But they don't understand that. People, safety, sales, dispatch, if they look at your clock, they actually believe that your clock represents the reality of how much sleep you've got, how much time off you've got, all that kind of stuff. They don't realize that just because your clock says you've reset and you have 14 hours on your 14, 11 on your drive and 8 on your break, that you actually haven't had a chance to sleep during that period of time. Now, some of them do. And I'm not even saying that you need to have been a truck driver to be a good fleet manager. I do think that having driven or, well, most of them haven't just rode around with somebody for nothing, but I think that it is enlightening I just thought of something real quick. Let me I gotta make a call real quick. This won't take long.
Hello?
So what's up as far as food?
Huh?
So what's up as far as food?
What's up with food? Are you saying you're hungry?
No, I'm just saying, did you have anything planned or anything like that?
Any plans for food?
Yeah.
No, but I'm hungry and we're on our way back from the outlet mall.
What'd you go to the outlet mall for?
Iris wanted some Halloween decorations, so we got a few more and just some stuff for the front yard.
I know you're fucking lying.
Of course we are. We're just fucking with you.
Okay.
So you want food?
Well, I don't know. I didn't know if you were stopping anywhere or what the situation was. Anyway, that's all. I wasn't sure what was going on with the food.
So what'd you say? I'm just saying, what do you want? What do you want? Oh, it's clear. You can go way downtown. Yeah, what do you want?
Why don't you just stop at Costco and get like one of them little meals? All you got to do is throw in the oven. I still got to take Mason's ass out since he's the only one that I haven't done shit with. And I'm not saying that's tonight. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be Costco, but like just some shit you could throw in the oven. All right.
Okay.
All right. Love you. Talk to you later.
Love you too. Bye.
All right. Bye. All right. Damn. All right. Safety would lose their mind if they knew how little sleep we had during TNT. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, now that we're talking about that, they're all talking about, sleeping and all this kind of stuff. Man, fuck. The most dangerous shit on the road, and I don't care what anybody says, is a team truck. Period. Now, you could possibly be an experienced team and all that kind of stuff to maybe where you've settled in, but a training team, now they're going to have numbers that show different, but I can't see anything less dangerous on the road than a training team. As a matter of fact, like I said, every time I switched shifts when I was training, even including the trainer that trained me, was your only goal is to not kill me today. That's it. And it's not because a team training truck, here's what they'll say. Well, you could always just do super solo and do all this kind of stuff. Well, at that point, it just makes no sense at all, right? But every single time that truck goes backwards, a trainer should be up. And you know how many times that truck goes backwards? And I'm not saying the whole 30,000. I guess you got to play it by ear. My first student, he would embarrass most regular prime drivers backing up. But every shipper, every receiver, every time the truck goes backwards, you got to be up. And then, yeah, little greedy pig show. I absolutely agree. How about training fleet managers by putting them on someone's truck for a week? I've said that was something they should have done a long time ago, just so they can see how guys work. I said that a long time ago. They're always encouraging us, hey, if you're in the office or if you're in the terminal, we don't have any locks on our doors. Come on down and hang out with your fleet manager. They are your business partner and all that. You know what? Every time I'm in the terminal, feel free to walk walk on out to my truck and bring a sleeping bag and come out for about 10 days or whatever, so you can understand the reality of this situation. And there was a message. I deleted it just because I didn't think I'd be on this topic, but it was, maybe I didn't delete it. I deleted it. But basically, it was sent by someone in-house that was saying how to be a safer driver and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, man, come on. Like, hey, listen, I love my fleet manager to death. I do. And just like me loving my wife, you know, that there's some stuff you got to deal with, right? And that's kind of, he excels in the areas that I need him to excel in, so I can overlook some of the other stuff. But I think it would be extremely eye-opening, even if it was just 4 days to be out on the truck. So he realizes, you know what? Oh, I understand why these guys couldn't go to sleep when they were at this shipper that, you know, had a window from this time to this time and it wasn't ready till 8 hours after that, why they might not have been able to get good sleep, and why maybe the good sleep they got was after, you know, there's just no they have no reality of what's going on out here. You know, so you new guys watching this video, do not play around with these guys this winter. I am not messing around at all. As soon as I think there's going to be a problem, and not only because I shut down last year, not because the roads were bad then at that moment. Let me paint the picture. So I'm dropping a load off in Olathe, Kansas. It's to the Walmart distribution center out there. Not the real distribution center, but the ones that you see that say like Walmart vendor 57980 or whatever it is, one of those. And you can get to those before an hour early before your appointment. So I'm on the phone with my fleet manager on the way out there. And I'm like, hey, man, we're supposed to have a snowstorm coming through here tonight at 7 o'clock. My load doesn't deliver till 10 p.m. or something like that. I'm going to try to run this load in now and see if they take me. All right, boss. Let me know how it goes. Boom. Try to get out there like 9 in the morning. They don't take me. They say, you know, you can only come back like an hour before your appointment time. At that point, that's 8 o'clock. Blizzard's supposed to hit at 7. If I'm getting live unloaded, I'm not going to be out of there till 2 hours after that. So let's say, I forget my hours, but the blizzard's going to be in full effect at that point. The truck stop I was at was a mile down the road. So I wasn't worried about me going from the truck stop to the receiver. I was worried about what I'm going to do after I get out of the receiver in the middle of a blizzard at 10, 11 o'clock at night with no parking anywhere. Now, in the back of my mind, I knew that I had the Hostess donut place that was like a mile and a half, 2 miles from there. But so I just decided to say, you know what? I can't make it due to the weather, schedule it for such and such a date. And that's kind of what it was. But be proactive with this shit. Do not. There is not an excuse good enough that you can come up with for getting in an accident out here. Because they're always going to say, why didn't you shut down? They're not going to know that no shit, you were trying to shut down for, you know, the last hour and a half, but couldn't find anywhere to shut down. They won't tell, you know, they don't understand that. So shut down early, shut down often. Do not play with these people. And not only because of the weather now, but because of what it might be later. Trust me. Naturally created. What's up, man? And talking about this, getting on people's trucks and all that kind of stuff. Swift actually did that probably about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. They had upper management get on trucks with people, and I don't remember how long they were on these trucks, but there were people, upper management, out on these trucks, and they came back with solutions. It wasn't like they just went out there on the truck and was like, all right, see ya. I mean, I think they bumped the trucks up from I think they might have been bumping them up from 67 to 70 or whatever. They went up in speed. And not only that, they went up in power. So whatever the power band was, they kind of changed that so they weren't bogging down as much on these hills. And you can probably still see them videos if you go to the old Swift videos. About 2 years ago, I obviously don't remember what it was titled, but I thought that was a good thing to do. Plus, it lets your drivers. I mean, listen, drivers out here are stressed to the hilt, and I'm not necessarily talking about myself, but drivers are stressed out. And like I've mentioned before, it would not surprise me if somebody was to shoot up a truck stop or anything like that. But if you got on somebody's truck, just being on their truck would make them feel like somebody cares. You know what I mean? All right. All right. Who would have thought the suit seeing how their employees work would equal solutions? Absolutely. I'm Black Monkey. Hi, what's up? Greedy little pig, did you see the message from safety about wanting to change the safety meeting again because of low views? There weren't that many people watching the safety meeting from Prime anyway. And I did watch that little video. That text or that message sent up, red flags for me. Because when you see little shit like that where they're trying to change things, what do you think the other stuff is they're trying to change? Like, it shouldn't even matter what the views are on a video like that. All that should matter is that you're putting out the information, whether people watch it or not. I mean, it's sort of like when I first started either the cooking channel or this channel. You have to put up videos in blind faith that some people are going to, check it out at some point or whatever it is. And I don't know. I don't want to get too into that, but that does not make sense to me. One thing I did see, and I will fucking hit the roof on this one. Sorry to be cussing. I'm going to try to not do it so much. Did anybody see what the last download was on the tablet? If they have people out there taking pictures of pre-trip inspections and all this stuff, I will that right there, that one could be the one. That could actually put me over the edge right there. Hold on a second. This is the owner of my old mortgage company. What's up?
So now you answer.
I've been calling your ass for I don't know how long.
I know. I'm not sidestepping you intentionally, but it feels like it. What have you up to?
Nothing. I came into town, all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And then I need to get another car at some point.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, not a truck. You don't need a car to drive around.
I just need something to drive around. So you got a cheap $2,000 car you got to get rid of?
No. What are you looking for? A car or like an SUV?
Man, it doesn't matter.
Are you still in town?
Yeah.
When do you go home?
What?
I said when do you go back on the road? When do you get back to work?
23rd, 26th, something like that.
No shit. What are you doing? Shit, I don't know. Are you around like at 5 today?
No, I'm not gonna be doing that. What do you have in mind though?
Well, because we bowl tonight, and it's I was just gonna say a beer before we bowl or something, but me, Ryan, Fritz.
Man, black people don't be out here trying to be bowling and shit. What are you talking?
We would meet at a bar. We wouldn't go to the bowling alley. I wouldn't bring you into a bowling alley.
I'm joking. Black people bowl.
Yeah, actually. So actually, the best bowlers in our league are black dudes. They're really good. Well, all right. So let's try to get together. You're here for another. It sounds like 10 days, right?
Something like that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm out and about right now, but if you can't do today, let's try. I don't know. Is there a day that works, or do you just want to grab a lunch, or come to the office, or you want to go have a drink, or what?
Well, if I remember correctly, you might have some stuff to drink at the office.
Because we do. We still have some of that schnapps left over.
Oh my god, that shit is horrible.
I know.
Anyway, let me get this car situation set up first, because I went out there to start this truck today, and it was acting like I was joking around.
Hey, how about this? Friday we have game night at the office at 5 o'clock. Friday, 5 o'clock. There's 13 of us.
PM?
Yeah, PM. Could you stop by Friday in the PM?
It depends. If I have a car, it'd be easier, but if not, my wife takes care of my grandkid, because, Anyway, I'll call you later, man. I got to get up here. It's just about to step out. All right. Sorry about that. Let's see. All right. Any advice, tips on first-time home buyers? So here's the thing. Everybody in trucking that's doing a lease or owner operator wants to say, if you're paying taxes, you're like paying too much. I guess it depends on if you're a company driver, or it's easy if you're 1099, or it's easier. It's still harder than a regular 1099 job. But it's okay. It's trucking W-2 is harder than a regular W-2 job, but not as hard as a 1099 job. When you're qualifying for a house in these days and times, they're going to use whatever your adjusted gross income is. So if you're writing everything off on your taxes, be ready, because you're not going to be showing as much income. So my advice would be is 2 years before you plan on buying a house, don't write off as much shit on your taxes. Or you could write off everything on your taxes and then go get them revised. But that sets off some flags right there. So that's my only advice is you've got to show income. So all these people that are like, I didn't pay any taxes all year. Listen, they're going off your adjusted gross income. Simple, just like every other grown-up business in the world. So that's the first thing. Second thing is just make sure your credit's on point. there was a time when with good credit you could buy whatever you wanted. Those times are kind of over. And it's funny because I see all these things like, what would you rather have? $10,000 a month would be like A, and B would be like retire at, a certain age, and C would be a credit score of 850, and D would be like $10,000 a month or some shit like that. And you actually have idiots out here saying that they would take the 850 credit score above some of these other things. And that is the dumbest shit in the world. But you do have to have good credit. Or actually, I'm going to take that back. Good credit is relative. So you could have credit in the low 600s, maybe even high 590s, depending on what kind of loan you're doing. But the income has to be there. There was a time when you could get a house with the 700 credit score, and it didn't matter how much you made, none of that stuff, you could get the house. Things have changed since then. So my advice would be put some money down and make sure your credit's fine and come correct on your taxes for those 2 years leading up to that. 412, what's up, hey bro? Plenty of companies got to wake up early in the morning and take pics for the pre-trip. Yeah, I understand that. GP Transco is one of them. But at some point, you got to get your foot off our throat. We're already out here, calling motherfuckers before we pick up the load. And then we're, going there and putting in a little thing when we get there. Then we're putting in something when we drop the trailer. Then putting in something when we pick up the trailer. Then putting in something when we, got all the information. Then we got to send in the stuff. Then we got to make another call. I mean, at some point, enough is enough. It's crazy. It is crazy. I'm not saying that we got to do that now, Dan the trucker, but if that comes up, that could be like one of those things that I just say is enough is enough. And I've already kind of listen, the owner of my company I used to work at for 20 years just called me. I've been having dreams about going back there. And I'm not saying, I do look back on that with fond memories and everything. And then I think about the stress. So I'm just like, no, I can't do that. But yeah. These nuts, I could never drive for a company that micromanages like that. Been driving too long for that bullshit. They haven't done that stuff yet. Some of the stuff they've already been doing. And I'm telling you, I agree with you on some of that. Because I think it promotes a bad driver. I think when you micromanage, it's sort of like if you do that shit with your kids. The more you micromanage your kids, the worse they're going to fucking be. It's not even a question. Now, you might have kids that fuck up a little bit in the beginning or whatever, but at some point, the kid, if you took a parent that micromanaged their kid or a helicopter parent or whatever you call them since they were 5 years old till the time they're 18 years old, I guarantee you the kid that had to figure it out on his own and didn't have somebody looking over him the whole time, they're going to be better. It's the same thing here. Sure, there might be some growing pains with some of these, getting your titty out of all these drivers' mouths for a little bit, but at some point, it's going to pay off. All right, 412, I don't like it when Logs calls me about IC. I've never had that. The site is one, or PC, yeah. I've never had that, so I'm good on that. That is one thing I haven't been micromanaged on. All right. Other than the Audi, I recommend a Volvo V90. Beautiful car. They are a nice car, but there's one thing. The only reason I would even go with Audi is because I'm kind of familiar with it from back in the days, but the Volvo, I just think that's a mechanical nightmare just waiting to happen. I mean, if I could find a nice little, Ford Explorer 2000 or something like that, I would buy that. Oh, let me tell you why I didn't buy some other cars. So, because some of them were nice. Now, trust me. There, man, how do I put this? So I've mentioned that one of the reasons, or one of the people that I hired when I was in the mortgage business, was this Russian guy, Alex Grigoriev. I hired him because I was like, man, he could break open a new market, all this kind of stuff and everything. Well, I used to, because he didn't know anything, I used to go out and meet clients with him. And a lot of his clients were Russians. And, a lot of those, and we would meet these people at we'd meet some of them at their house and all this kind of stuff. And, a lot of Russian talk going on where I didn't know exactly what was going on. But a lot of these meetings were happening at like Russian restaurants, and not like you couldn't just walk up to this Russian restaurant and walk in. Like they were like private clubs or whatever. And one thing I noticed, and this one thing is I say about these Russian trucking companies in Chicago, is every single loan that he brought to me had some amount of fraud on it, like to one degree or another. Slight fraud where it was like, man, we could overcome this and still do a deal, or heavy fraud where it was just like, just literal fraud. We couldn't do the loan. And he told me out of his mouth, Russian people would prefer to do fraud, or how do you put it? Russian people would rather do fraud when you could do it right legally. And the icing on the cake with this, two icings on the cake. One was he was doing a loan for a regular person, so it wasn't Russian, whatever. And on a FHA loan, you had to make sure that the house had like hand railings and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, these people had a deck, but the hand railing had broke off or something like that. So in order to get the loan done, because we'd already paid for the appraisal, because the customer didn't, the handrail had to get put on the house. So I tell them, find somebody that can do the hand railing, and then we'll pay him out at closing. So he finds somebody to do the hand railing, whatever. I don't think about how much this shit costs, because I'm not thinking like somebody's going to try to defraud me. The bill comes across, it's like $1,200, let's say. I don't remember exactly. $1,200. And something came up why we couldn't close the loan. So I had to go to their house to get more information. I think maybe updated pay stubs, all this kind of stuff. So I go back to their house because I'm trying to still keep him on the loan. But I don't remember if he didn't say where he was. I never saw him after this. So go to the house, get everything I need. And they say, yeah, somebody came out and they, did this and that. They did do the work on the house, but I'm like, this is not $1,200 worth of work. So what this guy was doing, and it was a Russian guy. So they gave me the receipt, and it was like some Russian dude's thing. So what I believe, I can't prove it, was he said, hey, if you do this work for these people, just send me a bill for $1,200, and then they'll pay you, my company will pay you $1,200, and then you can give me, you can send me like $400, $500, $600 or whatever after that. That's always stuck with me. So I thought the same thing about these Russian companies. And when I went to go look at these cars, a lot of these companies I was looking at had like these Russian names on them. And I started looking at the reviews, and I was like, yeah, no. There is just a level of acceptable fraud. As a matter of fact, I'll go back to something. I was watching this video about this guy that used to be in Afghanistan, and he would pay like all these different, like if you killed like somebody's goat or killed their kid or whatever, he would be the one to pay you. And if he needed some stuff done, like he needed to buy some equipment, he would be the one to do it. But what ended up happening was there came a big project that needed to be done, and it actually should have had to go through 3 people. But he was like, if I do that, it'll take too long. So he just paid the one person, like whoever it was. And let's say it was 100,000. I don't remember what it was. By the time everything should have got done, nothing was done. And the reason was every time it got kicked to somebody else, they took a percentage of the cut. And anyway, he was saying that they probably learned that from working with the Russians or whatever back in the day. Anyway, I don't know. I just know that I've seen too many common situations with that to where there's a car I wanted to buy and I saw that and started reading them comments. And I was like, this sounds way too familiar. The trade was taking too long to get paid off, and it was just too much shit. Anyway, I know I dragged that out longer than it needed to be. I have a cousin who works. Let me see. I get all this. I have a cousin who works for BMW, I'm assuming. He tells me to stay away from all of them. And me and my wife had a good BMW X5 for a while. For what we paid for it and how much life we got out of it, I thought that was a good little run. I don't expect to buy the cars that I buy and expect them to last forever, but you will never see me with no $500, $600, $700,000 car payment. Just can't happen. It's the car, I just bought my wife that Mercedes, that's we pay our stuff off fast. All right. All right, 412 is talking about this carrier wanting to argue. Yeah, I don't do any of that. Now, I get upset with my fleet manager at times because another situation that fleet managers don't understand is when I say, here's, when the appointment needs to get rescheduled or something like that, and I say, give me a new appointment time, and I don't get an appointment time. They just say, get there when you get there. And I look at the reviews and they're like, they're not open during this time to this time. And I tell my fleet manager, can I just get an appointment time? They're just like, get there when you get there. Listen, it only takes you to be wrong one time, or, it doesn't matter if you're wrong one time, because I'm the one that's going to eat it. But I've been there when managers have said, they'll just get there when you get there. They'll be open. And I've sat at that front gate unable to back out of it for 16 hours. So what they don't understand is their mistakes are a small inconvenience, if any inconvenience to them. And they're a big inconvenience to us, even if we're wrong. So in this case, the receiver was open when they said they were going to be open. But that's like one time. Like, it's okay, good. Anyway. These nuts, did your hire wear Adidas jogging pants with gold chains? I don't know if you're talking about them Russians. I think that okay, so you're talking about my boy that we used to call him, or he told me what they called him, Gopniks. So if you just Google a Gopnik, Gopnik, that's kind of what Russian hooligans are. And he didn't, he came to work dressed like in business attire, whatever, but just like all Russians, that motherfucker's wearing all black, black pants, black, maybe a white shirt, black tie, black shoes, and then guess what car he had? I'm not even gonna say what car he had. Super Trucker Frey is the last comment. Anything below him? Type in what kind of car you think he drove. Anyway. Carrie and McKay Yapper. Yeah, I kind of talk a little bit. Howdy, neighbor. What's up? Geo DeYoungin. 412. This girl quitting across the aisle for me, and she is fucking their truck up. All right. A company called ProStar. I've seen them around. Acceptable fraud is a very American phrase. No, that's a very European phrase. And I'm not just throwing them I'm not throwing it all on Russia. I'm saying Ukraine, Lithuania, all them guys over there. Like it was almost worth it. I don't even think I closed, but maybe 2 loans out of every loan that this guy brought me from his people. Now, there were other people that, he closed other loans besides that, but they were just regular people. But put it this way, those places where I was meeting these people at, there is no way I'd have been able to get into that place without him. No way. Now, they didn't have the little eye thing where you they look out, to see if you're there. But yeah, they were like Russian supper clubs. I'm telling you. LeBron or Kobe? Man, Kobe, and that's not even like a question. Super Trucker Frey, what's up? Mercedes, all right, good to see you doing a live. Prime Trainer Tim, what's up? Forward to, hey, bro. Talking about appointment times. I've seen somewhere on YouTube that Prime gets mad if you guys reach out to the customer. Man, that depends on the customer. That's not always the case. Now, if it's a Walmart, you cannot get there more, a regular Walmart. Not every Walmart load is this OTIF or whatever they call it, but you can't show up there early or really call. BMW or Range Rover? I would pick anything in front of a Range Rover. I would pick a Daihatsu Charade in front of a Range Rover. I sold Range Rovers, and that was the only time I've ever seen grown people cry when they've had a bill on a Range Rover that's like $8,000-$9,000. I would love to have trust me, I would love to have a Range Rover. The only problem is I know what you get out of that. Range Rovers was the last cars I sold before I got into banking. It was the best place I'd ever worked at as far as car sales go. And what happened was there was a guy that hired me there who was a friend of mine that I'd worked at several dealerships, and they offered him the role to be the general manager, and he did not want to take it. The higher up you are, the closer you are to the door. So he didn't take that job. They hired some other jackoff that fired him and fucked the whole thing up. So I thought about it, and I said, you know what? If this is the best car sales place you could ever be, and they can't get this shit right, then they're never going to get any place right. So that's when I'd been working on getting my shit together, but I called my girl that hired me in the banking business, who was a fucking blessing. And I think about when she hired me, how entitled I was, because they were like, well, we can hire you, but you got to work at this branch or that branch. And I was like, no, if I can't work at this branch, I won't do it or whatever it was. And I, that's unbelievable. They should have just said, fuck him, get him out of here. But I don't know how much she stepped in on it, but she got me at that branch where she worked at, and the rest is history. I kind of built on that after that. Just to put a face with a name, that's her right there. All right, Kenworth, Peterbilt, or Freightliner? Well, it depends on where you're getting them from. If you're getting them from Prime, the difference between Kenworth and Peterbilt is not even a question. Them little raggedy ass interiors they got in them Kenworths, like, it's just basic shit. No navigation. It's just that flat plastic. No, like, you don't have the simulated wood grain interior with the, silver accents and all that. You don't, yeah. So at Prime, and I'm not saying this anywhere, at Prime, the Kenworths are basically stripped down Peterbilts. And up until this year, they were not only stripped down Peterbilts, but they had them little tiny ass catwalks, which now Peterbilts have in general. Freightliner is one of those things where I couldn't do it. I just can't. Trucking is too much of a sacrifice as it is for me to be like driving around. We used to call them ad units in the car business. To be driving around some basic ass ad unit, I can't do it. I got to spend the extra money. Now, if I was doing a regular lease, it's a different situation. Whatever the payment's cheapest, maybe whatever, but I'm not a fan of the Freightliners. Now, my trainer, who I trained recently, he loves them. He trained with me. He had Freightliners for years, trained with me in my Peterbilt, and then when he upgraded, boom, right back to a Freightliner. When I first got with him was after my first trainer that had a Peterbilt, and I hit a bump in a construction zone that almost bounced me into the median, and I thought there was something wrong with the truck. And it's not. It's just how they are. All right. 412. All right. D Truck and Kenworth is interior is a Freightliner. It is that basic, but they look like Peterbilt interiors. So I gotta, I love the spaciousness of the, Freightliners, all that room above the top and everything. There's more room everywhere. So I gotta give them that. But in the end, I gotta live in that truck. All right. Freightliners, the Honda Civics of the industry. I think a Honda Civic is actually a little bit what I would say, and you might be too young for this 412, but back in the 90s, Chevy trucks, whether they were Cavaliers, it could be a Suburban, whatever, they all had that whack interior with these like big ass like knobs and red and blue and all that stuff. That's kind of what Freightliners remind me of. All right. I know somebody personally with the 1,000,000-mile PACCAR. I would bet that my truck would make it to 1,000,000 miles if I was able to keep it that long. All right, D-Trucking, I'm 28. My Freightliner hurts my back. I want to peep, but I don't like the PACCAR engine. I haven't had no issues with that PACCAR engine unless, my biggest problem is getting more than 9 miles to the gallon. That motherfucker gets some good ass mileage. All right. So anyway, yeah. Forgot who I was talking to. They said they wanted him to do a drug test while they were on home time. I'll pass any drug test, but if they want to give me an alcohol test right now, that ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. I gotta relieve all this pressure when I'm at home and load up the tanks for when I'm back on the road. We're out here on a little bit of that Knob Creek 9, 120 proof. Single barrel reserve. All right. I'm 412. I am not relaxed from the road yet. Yesterday was the first time I actually got out of bed. Literally, I was like, I might come out and fuck around with the grandson a little bit, and then go back and lay down in bed. Man, I could not. It was like I could not catch up. I kept telling my wife that, at 412, I know you weren't here, but there goes my grandson. He's out there. He got that itis. We went out to lunch yesterday, and he damn near wanted to fall asleep in the middle of the meal. I got to take my son out, though, is who I really need to take out. Uh, 412, I ain't cut my hair yet either, man. I mean, shit, when I get home, what's the date? Is it the 14th? Man, my first day home. I don't even think I took a shower right away. I don't think I took a shower till the next day. So, I mean, this is sad. What's the date? 14th. So I got home on let's call it the 8th. So I don't think I took a shower till the 9th. I don't think I got up out of really bed at all till like the 12th. I mean, I haven't been able to find the motivation to do anything. Literally nothing. Like, it was everything I could do to want to go out and have lunch with my daughter, wife, and son or grandson. Now, yeah, in 412, you weren't here, but I started up my truck, man, and it sounded like I got to get another car, like ASAP. I thought I was going to be able to baby it another year to get me back and forth to the terminal or whatever, but not going to happen. So I got to get another car. So I got an appointment tomorrow at a dealership to go take a look at a car, and then, hopefully I can get it. Hold on. So yeah, that's my plans. If I could find the perfect car for there's a few cars that I wouldn't really mind how many miles were on it. Like if I could find like an old 96 Jeep Cherokee Sport, the old square Cherokee model, those are bulletproof. I'd get one of those, for like $3,000, $2,500, something like that. Some people are gonna say Toyota, man, there's still too much money, even at that range. But the Jeep Cherokee, I just know those are bulletproof. Probably one of the best. It wasn't the best value I've ever had. I've had a ton of different four-wheel drives. That Jeep Cherokee Sport, the square one, went anywhere. All right, anyway, 412, or not 412, Midlife Trucker, did I send any Cash App to Detroit? I don't really mess around with Cash App at all. The only time I even opened up a Cash App was when I had a driver that said he was going to pay me for some money that was charged to me based on something that they did. and I opened up the Cash App for that, received some of that money, but I don't even know how to. If I was out there, I would pay. I would like hook her up with something because there's a difference. You know, we're talking about dirty truck, and everybody doesn't know. Go check out her channel. She's legitimately crazy, or at least has mental problems. So I don't hold some of the foolishness that she has against her. And I had one of my former drivers that lives in Detroit that said she was going to try to look for her and hook her up. So if I lived out there, I would hook her up. Like, yeah. I would gamble on her. If I lived in Detroit, I would probably gamble on her. Well, no, that wouldn't work because with rideshare, you have to have a nicer car. She could do like the food delivery shit, but I don't think she can do that. But let's just say that she could. I would gamble. I would probably buy her a $3,000 car and let her make payments on it. I might charge her like, with interest, like $5,500, something like that, and have her pay me back. I would probably make that gamble. Now I would know if it broke down, I'd never get paid, but I'd probably make that bet just to try to help somebody out. And then if she paid, what the car was worth, I'd write it off for something. All right, everybody's talking about dirty trucking. Hey, for those of you guys don't know, hey, dirty trucking. If there's one channel, I watch a bunch of different YouTube channels, really don't get to engage that much because I listen to them when I'm driving. But if there's one channel where I've listened to every single one of their videos from day one, it's hers. Because you can't make some of that shit up. That is like pure entertainment right there. All right, so Buick Centuries. Shoot, I buy a Buick Century. As a matter of fact, what's the other one? There's a Lucerne or something like that. This kind of, if you can get a 3.8 GM motor, that's bulletproof right there. I'd take that. As a matter of fact, I'd take it now. The problem is I won't buy it from some of these shady ass dealerships because some of these smaller dealerships where sometimes you'll see the better prices is they're getting the scraps of the scraps sometime, but you can't tell when you are getting that. So I just decided not to. I mean, I have bought a car from one of those places and it was, as a matter of fact, the car's still driving to this day. 2004 Ford Expedition. The person I sold it to still driving it. So, but you just never know because they're getting the cars that normal dealerships want to wholesale. So they're picking those up. Whereas if the car was in decent enough shape, some of those places would keep that on their lot. So I'm trying to stay, with the larger dealerships, or maybe not a larger dealership, but the larger independent dealerships, if that makes sense. So where this car is at, I'm going to look at tomorrow. 412, I'll just show you since you just came in. It's at, where's it at? It's at BMW of Denver. So they at least have to worry about their reputation, but boom. Get a little station wagon action to make me go back to my youth, back when station wagons was the bomb. All right. Them old school Buicks. are pretty good for a beater, man. Them 3.8 liter engines. As a matter of fact, if I could find one, I'd buy it. Part of the problem with buying some good cars that are too good to be true, like when my daughter was in high school, I bought her a Ford Taurus. So this had to be around 2011. So this might have been about a 2002, maybe 2003 Ford Taurus. Looked brand new, all that kind of stuff, but it was driven, it was an old person's car. So it had low miles on it. And a lot of times when cars have low miles on it, all them seals start getting rotted up. And that's what happened is the gaskets and all that stuff start going bad. So the fact that it had such low miles on when I got it was probably the reason why it had problems eventually. Cadillacs are fine too, as long as it, and every car you could look at any car and say there's a track record of it being bad, but the North Star Cadillac engine is notorious for that. I don't know if that 04 had a North Star engine in it, but those are definitely ones you want to stay away from. But every now and then somebody got a good one. She'd pawn the car. Hey, listen, Tom, I've given money to people, throughout the years. And one thing I've never asked about is where they spent the money. And as a matter of fact, some people, like, if I see them on the side of the highway or something like that, and they say, all they're going to do is go buy some alcohol. And I'm shit like, yeah, go ahead and do it. Ease that pain, man. Do whatever you got to do. But I'm not, I'm joking around about that, but I'm not. Back when I was doing cooking videos on YouTube, there was a guy who was he wasn't retired, but I think he was a disabled vet who was actually getting money from the VA, but not enough money to live anywhere. Anyway, he was living on the streets. He lived behind this Sonic hamburger place right next to this post office. And a few times when I was done cooking, I used to go up there and give him the food. Because if I'm making videos, I might be cooking 3 or 4 racks of ribs, and we might only eat 2. So I got all these racks of ribs left over, brisket, whatever it is. So I go up there and take it up there to him. And one of the good things about that was actually getting to talk to him about, I think a lot of people give money, and a lot of times you don't have that time to actually get to know somebody. But when I was able to take him the food and talk to him about some of that stuff, it was a lot different doing that. And it made me realize, first of all, it made me realize that these are actual people, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like he was broke, because he was still getting money in, but I think he was having to pay child support or some other shit. I don't really remember, but fuck. You guys are making me think of how good of a person I really am. Shit. Anyway, I did that. Back before that, there was a radio station in Colorado that I forgot what they called it. Christmas time, they used to give people these wishes or whatever. And basically I told them for 3 years I would sign up to help these single mothers out. That was my criteria. And I would go out and spend like up to $400 on their Christmas or whatever it was. And then I would take them out to eat, not because I wanted to hook up, because most of them you didn't want to hook up with, but take them out to eat just so they knew it wasn't like a charity kind of a situation, and really like get to know them. I wish I might still have them pictures around, if I, at least of the last one, because I never thought about taking pictures, but there was like this one last person that I met, and I don't think I ever went in any of their houses except for the last one. That might have been why. But I took a picture of them next to the Christmas tree, and it was literally like Charlie Brown Christmas tree and all that kind of stuff. But forgot all about that till you guys brought it up, or till I read a comment. And not to be stereotypical, 2 out of the 3 were white. All right, let's see. "412 got rid of it because of the North Star, but I had that thing for a hot minute." Man, there's plenty of people that had North Stars that ran forever, so there ain't nothing wrong. Listen, sometimes it's just luck of the draw. I bought a new Yugo, all right, Tom Bell, and the car expired before the temporary tag. And the funny thing about it was, I knew somebody that had a Yugo that drove the shit out of that thing when we were in the Marines. So I guess you never know. Romaine the Capper, what's up, man? I don't think you were lying about the last video you put up, though. I did watch that. I think I was about to comment, but I was like looking for a car at the time. I was like too busy doing some other stuff, whatever. Yeah, see, hey, Slime Pack, what you need to do is get out here and teach him how to actually. You need to teach him, and you need to teach Trucker B the art of clickbait. You know, like, you just can't put up shit. You know, you just can't make a title and then have it not be anything to do with what you're talking about. Now, Romaine's not that bad, but your other boy is. I've banned that one for a good year at this point, just because I can't do it. I can't get bamboozled into the watch, even though it's not going to be that big of a deal. Do you know why Hugo had a back window defroster to keep the driver's hands warm when they were pushing it? I'm telling you that truck that I have, no warm air coming out of that thing whatsoever. And I would have kept driving it had it not dump all that coolant. And I think it was more than coolant, because I haven't even opened the hood. But I'm afraid of that thing breaking down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call some of these people that are like, we pick up your junk car for like $400 or $500, and I'm going to give it to one of them like tomorrow or when I get this other car handled. All right. Clickbait, I'm leaving Hirschbach. That's actually one of them right there. I don't even want to start with that. I'll get pissed off even thinking about them guys. Matter of fact, hold on a second. Just real quick. It's only going to take a second. Let me call my son real quick. It's only going to take a second. If he even answers. Because he's out there grinding. He's putting in the work. He just moved into my condo, so he's learning.
What's up?
Are you off work?
No.
So what do you answer the phone for?
What?
Why are you answering the phone if you're not off work?
Oh, I thought you said outside.
Are you off work?
I am off work.
Where are you at?
I'm at Walmart right now. What's up?
Before you leave, I just wanted to take you out to eat,
Okay.
for not being a complete freeloader at my house anymore.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I get what you mean.
All right. And then I can show you how to turn that fireplace on.
Wait, don't you get it on?
Did you turn the fireplace on?
No.
Okay, I can show you how to turn the fireplace on.
Okay.
All right. When are you going to be done with all your bullshit there?
Like 5-10 minutes tops. Where you want to meet?
I don't know. We'll see. I got to get with your mom first.
Okay.
All right. I'll let you know. It may not be today, though.
That's fine.
All right. I'll check you later.
Cool. Love you. Bye.
All right. Bye. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Yeah. People be clickbaiting, yo. Slime Pack is asking about Romaine. Oh, that's right. The last one wasn't that big of a clickbait. When you were talking about that's what I was worried about. When you were talking about getting that drug test and everything. And I was like, man, if they try to drug test me when I'm at home and try to give me an alcohol test, I might as well tell them that ain't going to work out. Well, now you can get me whenever you want on the road. But if I'm at home and you're like, you got to be a Concentra, I'm going to just say, hey, listen, here's the deal. All right. Tom Bell flew a drone over Prime. I remember that. My new husband is crystal meth now. Hey, can't go wrong with that. I heard it makes everybody feel good. Romaine's out here trying to be a real fucking YouTuber. There's only room for a certain amount of them. Out here trying to take all these damn videos and everything. See, Romaine, you could be but so good, okay? All right. Now, I'm not even going to take it to some of the people that take it to the extreme. But then you're going to compete with Slime Pack, who got that little country-ass voice going on, and she's out there wearing her little dress-up clothes and everything, all ironed out and everything, chapstick on her lips, stuff like that. You can't compete with that, man. I mean, you can pick up some views and you can pick up some subscribers, but you can't pull them like Slime Pack. And notice I said chapstick. I'm just messing with you. You know I am anyway. And Slime Pack, you are country as hell. Like, I mentioned some country singers in one of the videos, and you knew who they were. I mean, if I remember correctly, I think I brought up Dwight Yoakam, and I think that's even old for me. I think that's going back to the early, late 80s and all that kind of stuff. Anyway. Hey, Slimepack, you know who else needs to get on that moisturizer? I'm good to go. Shoot. Who else needs to get on that moisturizer? Shamarcus, boy. He did a video and his knuckles look like they look like if he just clenched a fist that he was gonna bust up that skin. Man, who's worried about Darius Rucker getting engaged? I already thought he was engaged or something. Hootie and the Blowfish and all them. I'm sure he's been on his own, I think, for a while, but hold on a second. Lexa, can you play?
Good news. You're off the wait list. Alexa Plus is free during early access.
No.
Hear my new voice before you
Stop.
Just say, Alexa, can I?
Alexa, can you play the Flash Gordon intro?
Here's Flash by Queen.
No. Alexa, Flash Gordon.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
God. Louder. Alexa, volume up. Alexa, louder. Louder, Alexa. Alexa, louder. Alexa, louder. See, young bucks don't know nothing about this. Anyway, it's not playing loud enough. Alexa, play Terminator X to the edge of
Would you like to play the music or video?
music.
Center of Eternity by Ozzy Osbourne.
Wrong.
Amazon Music.
Alexa, play Terminator X to the edge of panic.
Here's Terminator X to the Edge of Panic by Public Enemy.
Listen to
Amazon
this.
Music.
At the count of 3,
You thought that Flash Gordon was good. Alexa, volume up.
3.
This is that Flash Gordon right here.
One more time, man.
Alexa, volume up.
2, 3. Yeah, boy, for those that didn't understand, Terminator X.
Now, how creative was this? All right, Lex, turn that off. Lex off. All right, anyway, let me get back to these comments. I'm just having a good old time over here.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Turn it off. Lex off. Lexa off. All right, anyway, I'm about to get off here. Let's see. See, I don't know nothing about this, Lex. I don't come home enough to understand all this different shit. All right, let me go through these comments. Rip D'Angelo. Wasn't too big of a fan of D'Angelo. I mean, not that you want anybody dead. He's all right. Call me crazy, but I think he might have taken his wife's estrogen pills. That's unfortunate. All right, Alexa, volume 10. I'll remember that. Hopefully she doesn't turn on now. I don't know how any of this stuff works. And this is I've really thought about actually like having to quit this shit. And I'm not joking around at all. I come home and I'm just like, you know what? this time is this time is flies by or it's flown by way faster. Like it's been damn near 7 years and it's gone by like it's nothing. And some people are, slime pack, some of you strong women, it ain't got nothing to do with no strong women, but just, being the leader that I am typically, I just feel like that is one of the things that my household is lacking is strong leadership that not that my wife can't provide, but just that I should be providing, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to start thinking about this. I'm gonna have to start shortening up my runs or doing whatever, but I'm just not sure that I can keep this pace up right now. They say time speeds up as you get older. That is no joke, especially when you really understand, like, under no circumstance is there more time in front of me than there is time behind me. Slime Pack's got a giveaway and revealing her rap. There you go. Romaine the trucker talking about people watching to the end because of the wild stories. Listen, there's a difference between wild stories and wild lies. I'm joking. Now I could do the Romaine accent. Now some other accents I can't. I don't do so well with. Anyway, let me figure out what's going on. I might see if my son wants to take me out to eat or not, and go from there. But let me see this last comment before I get off here. To quote Ricky Bobby, with my high level of income and modern science, is unreasonable to think I could not live to 140 to 150. Man, I kind of wish, but sometimes you don't know. Let's see. I had to stop listening to Slime Pack, though, when I was listening. All right. Anyway, I'm about to get off here. I do appreciate you guys stopping by. See if I get my son to take a motherfucker out for a nice free meal, because he's at that point right now. That's what every parent wants, is when their son can take them out and pay for them. And really what a parent wants is when he's able to take full responsibility. So if you're out with like the daughter, the husband, all the other people, when he could step up and be like, I got it. And then I might be off in the, side saying, just go ahead. I got you after this. That's what you want. All right, I'm out of here. I'll check you guys out later. Boom.